Hello and welcome to this session by Scholastic. I am AJIT Narayan, speaking to you from Delhi, and I am a cartoonist for the last 20 years. And I am the author of these books which you see on the board or probably on the screen out there. I will introduce the titles and tell you what is there in each of these books at the end of the session. Okay. Now we'll begin with this very interesting workshop. I believe everyone is ready with a paper and pencil, because there's going to be a lot happening on the screen out here, and but I don't want you to copy the moment you see me drawing something out there. I want you to listen to my instructions very carefully and also understand and probably watch the process as it is happening on the board out here. Okay, now let's begin with this very interesting workshop on cartoon making, and I'm sure everyone loves cartoons, and I'm sure many of you also must have copied their favorite cartoon character. Now that is not the right way to begin, but I have also done it as a school child like you, so it's not really wrong. But then if you really want to draw original cartoon, something which you can be very proud of, that it is your drawing, your cartoon, please follow my instructions very carefully. Okay, all right, let's get started. To draw cartoons, first important thing is to have a steady hand. You need to draw so well, because whatever you put across on the page, it has to be very legible and very clear, because if your pictures are not very clear, nobody is going to laugh at your cartoon. So the important thing is that you need to steady your hand, because the smooth flowing flow of lines determines the quality of your cartoon. Okay, just a moment. Okay, now we move on to the screen. Please look towards the screen very carefully as you see what I'm going to do on the board. First, we'll start with some very simple warm-up exercises, so that your hand at drawing cartoons and probably any other art becomes much easier. Okay, please follow me on the board. What you see is a multiple set of lines drawn in different directions. Okay, now this is one exercise which has got 4 parts. Okay, the first one that you see is a vertical line, second is a horizontal line, third and the fourth line are tilting towards the left and right. Now each of these lines I have repeated 1 or twice or thrice, but when you are practicing, practice them each one of them separately and repeat them as many times as possible. Now in this particular exercise, please do not use any scale. That is not to be used. It has to be freehand, that is apart from your pen, pencil, whatever you're using, you're not going to use anything else. Then there is also a technique to do this exercise. You need to place your hand at one particular point and the movement should be only this much. You're not going to drag your hand all across the page. That is a no-no. Okay, please copy this as an example onto your page, and next time when you practice, you need to practice this as many times as possible till the day you're able to draw a near perfect straight line by just one stroke of your pen or pencil. Please copy this as quickly as possible, and then we move on to the next exercise. I hope you have done. Alright, now we move on to the next exercise, which is based on a circle. Now this is very important, because to draw cartoon characters, the classic geometrical shape, let's take it like that, a classic geometrical shape that you will choose for a comic head is obviously a circle. So to draw a near perfect circle like this by one stroke of your pen or pencil, you need to practice on all the 4 curves of the circle. How do you do it? This is the way. What you do is just place your hand once again at one particular point and try to get the curves of the circle in every angle possible. Okay, once again I have clubbed it together. When you are practicing, practice each curve of the circle separately, and you have the I would say the grace of choosing to turn and twist according to your convenience in trying to get the curves. But if you can keep your paper straight and yourself straight and then move your wrist only, it will be amazing if you can do that. Okay, please copy this exercise onto your page as you see it from the board, and then we move on to the last exercise. The final exercise is based on geometrical shapes. Now, any geometrical shape you can choose, or probably you can choose a set of geometrical shapes. What you need to do is draw it very, very small and then make it grow bigger than the first one. Okay, as you can see, I have only chosen 3 geometrical shapes. It is a choice completely up to you whether you would like to choose a set of few more geometrical shapes, but that's not very important. The important thing to be noted here is you need to start with a very small triangle and then make it grow bigger. Please do not draw a big square, triangle or circle and then make it smaller. That will be wrong. Please start with a very small triangle, circle or a square. There is also another technique, you can copy this. There's also another way of doing this very same exercise, which is a little tough, but if you can do it, great. If you cannot, no worries. Okay, that is, once you start drawing this one particular shape or a geometrical shape that you have chosen, you are not supposed to lift your pencil. Complete the shape over and over again in a concentric pattern. I'll show you how. Okay, so for example, if I start with a triangle, I do not lift my pen, continue as long as possible. Okay, but in this particular exercise, please see to it that those lines do not touch each other. So you need to move your pencil very slowly. Copy this. Okay, now we move on to the first lesson on cartoon making. These are some of the warm-up exercises. If you practice them over and over again till you're perfect in each one of them, believe me, your drawing of not only cartoons but any type of drawing will become very, very smooth, and you will never require a geometrical equipment to even draw a straight line. That perfect you will become. Okay, now moving on to the first lesson on cartoon making. The first lesson that we're going to pick up is how to draw a comic head. Now, learning the principles of head construction is the essence of cartooning. Whether your cartoon character is fat, thin or alien, it's best to start with the head. Okay, so to choose a head shape, you must have seen a lot of odd looking shaped heads in cartoons, but don't worry, best way to go about it is to pick a simple geometrical shape, as we did earlier also, and I was telling you also, circle is probably the most simplest form of or probably which is probably also close to our face shapes. A circle or an oval, that's a choice completely up to you. Now, to place all the features on the cartoon character's face, which is there on your face too, which is 2 eyes, nose and mouth, and the ears, hair, etc., etc. Now, I'm going to choose a very simple guideline technique to draw this picture. Now, I'll tell you why I'm using these 2 guidelines to draw such a simple picture a little while later. Now, the point where the 2 lines are intersecting and meeting at the center is where you draw the nose of this cartoon character, which could be of any shape and size. I choose a simple golgappa nose, and across the nose you have the eyes sitting on this sleeping line or horizontal line. I place it with or depict it with 2 simple dots. Above the eyes you have the eyebrows with 2 simple curved lines. You draw that. An upturned curved line for mouth or lips, 2 alphabet C's at the parallel end for ears, and what is left is the hairstyle, which I draw it like a Maggi noodle. Now, the face is constructed. Now, you must be wondering, such a simple picture, why do we need to use those 2 lines? This is basically to position the features at the right places. Okay, that's the one biggest advantage, and it is a professional technique used by cartoonists. Now, there is also another very big advantage of using these 2 very lines, which you must have found it very, very tough till now. That is, in a cartoon, when the cartoon character's face is created, he's not going to stand always looking straight and talking to every other character like that. He has to move his head exactly the way you do when you're talking to your friend. So, I'm going to make 3 different postures out here, or angles or directions in which his face is going to look. That is, looking up, looking down and looking sideways. Okay, so I'm going to make the same face, because that's very important in a cartoon. The face has to be identical and look the same whether he's looking up, down or sideways. So here is the trick. Please follow me on the board. Now if I want this boy, the same very cartoon character, to look down towards the floor, I draw the same vertical line, but I change the position of the horizontal line from the middle to the bottom half and repeat the same features because it is the same very boy, and now this boy is looking down, isn't it? Now if I want this boy to look up towards the ceiling, this is what I do. I draw the same vertical line, but this time I'm sure you understood the trick. I changed the position of the horizontal line to the bottom half here to make the face look down. Now if I want to make the face look up, I'm sure you know it, you move the horizontal line to the top half. But this time please use your common sense, that is, when your nose is moving up or when your head is tilting up, your nose goes up. Please also understand the direction in which your nose is pointed is the direction in which your face is also looking. That's an inside tip that I'm going to give, I'm giving you. So this time we draw the nose above it. Okay. Now last position, which is also very important, that is looking left or right. So I'm just drawing one position that I'm making this cartoon character look towards me, which is my left. So this is, sorry, okay, I do it in this way. I shift the vertical line towards me and the face is now looking towards me. Okay. Now, so you must have, as I said, you have never seen these two lines in any cartoon or comic book. That's because these two lines are erased in the pencil stage once the picture is colored. So you don't color these two lines, and that is why you never see these technique or this secret that the cartoonists use in drawing their cartoon characters perfectly. Now this is also a technique which is very effectively used by animators, or those are the cartoonists who draw for cartoon films. So this is a very professional technique. You can copy them onto your page, and to understand the principle behind the drawing, what I would suggest you is to look towards yourself in front of a mirror in the similar angles, and probably you will add a few more details, which is not very necessary in a cartoon, but if you would like to add, you can. For example, when a person looks up, you can see the two holes of your nose when a person looks up and his face is tilted backwards, which I didn't draw. You could add. Similarly, a person who is looking down, you don't see the hair at the outline of the head, but you can see a lot of hair towards the forehead, okay, because the head is tilted down. Okay, so all those details can be done. Another very interesting thing, you can change the gender of this cartoon character by changing the hairstyle. That is, by simply changing the hairstyle, I have turned this cartoon character into a girl. Please copy these examples onto your page, and next time when you sit down to drawing your own cartoon character, you are free to draw the way you wish to by choosing your different type of nose, eyes, ears, hairstyle, etc. That's a choice completely up to you. Right now I would like you to copy like this, and so that you can have a reference to drawing your pictures as an original cartoon character on your own later on. Okay. Now another very important thing to be noted here is, if you can do it, is to make this face to give an effect of a 3D shape. That is, a face is not like a flat face, it is spherical in a global kind of a thing, like a globe. Okay, so what you do is, if you can, when you draw these two very lines for placing those features, if you can draw them with a little bend or curve, like the longitude and latitude, you will have an effect of a face which has a 3D effect to it. Okay, so try and do that. That is, what I meant is this: try and curve the lines a bit, so it gives you a 3D effect. Okay. All right. Now we move to the next segment. I hope you have copied all of them. Next segment, what we're going to pick up is another very important aspect of cartooning, which is the essence of cartooning in a sense also, because it is those funny expressions that these cartoon characters make that really triggers the laughter when somebody looks at a cartoon. So what we're going to learn is how to create facial expressions, because they are so very important, because that is where the cartoon character is, or it helps us understand what the cartoon character is trying to tell us or is trying to say. So therefore the face that you draw of a cartoon expression has to be very, very clear, less complicated, and that I'm going to do it by simply exaggerating only 3 features. This is no trick, but I'm just giving you as example that it is the 3 features, these 3 features, that is the eyebrows, eyes and mouth, which actually creates different expressions. I'm not saying that the nose, ears and hair doesn't play any role. It also plays a role in a cartoon when you're creating a cartoon character. Now here are some examples that I'm going to draw on this board. I want you to look at these examples as I make subtle changes in the second image, where you will see how quickly I can change an expression by just changing a small or making a small twist and turn to the facial features. Please look towards the board. Now these, you're quite familiar with these kind of images because of your mobile phone, okay? But I'm going to go much beyond that. They are also an extension of these very facial expressions from cartoons. So as you can see in the first image out here, the face is worried or tensed or nervous, while the second face is obvious, it is angry. And the change that I've done in either of the 2 images is just the eyebrows moving in different directions, and quickly the facial expression has changed. Here comes the next set of example. Okay. You can see the eyeballs moving in different directions, and the first one is thinking, second one is scared of something. Okay, and what you see in the picture here, it is, everything is the same. It's just the eyeballs or the pupil of the eye which is moving in different directions, which has given a new image or a new expression. Okay, here comes the next one. Okay, the first one is crying, the second one is in pain. It is just the mouth which is variated in either of the expressions, and it has created a change in the expression. So very subtle changes in cartoons is good enough to create such a dramatic change in the expression. I want you to copy all of these onto your image, and then we move on to a slightly complex one. Slightly complex in the sense I'm going to exaggerate the features a little level up. Okay, right now this is also an exaggerated but a very simple one, pretty much close to a smiley faces, but then we move on to the next level, and you will see the sudden changes that happens in the expression as we move on to exaggerating the expression even further. Okay, I hope you have copied all of them, and just to label them if you wish to, the first one is nervous, tensed or worried. You can choose the word either of them. This is angry or upset. This is thinking, and the second one is scared. This is crying, and this is in pain. I probably forgot to tell you that this is in pain. Okay, he's in pain, probably doing ouch, or he's hurt. Okay, here we go with the next set of images on the board. Okay, as I said, I am exaggerating it further with a little more, adding a little more complexity to the image by exaggerating the feature further. Okay. Okay, as you can see, both the faces, it's only the tongue which is moving in different directions. The first one is definitely planning something. He is up to something. He is planning a trick or a prank. Okay, whereas the next one is kind of in a defeated position, or probably upset that he is not able to do what he intended to do. So it's a kind of an anger in failure. That's the kind of look that he has. Here comes the next one. Somebody who is mighty excited. And here is somebody who is so scared. Okay. Next we want another. Okay. This is somebody who is knocked out, and the second one is completely shocked. Now the interesting part to this third stage of expressing cartoon characters like these is by adding visual props. Now that's another interesting thing which you can just easily pick off from any comic book. That is by adding or making the communication or the expression even more evident for the reader to understand what is happening or what is the thought process out there. We add these simple visual props. For example, this guy might have a horn which is not there in humans. This is purely given extra visual props. So this is a horn given to somebody who is evilish. Okay, somebody who is pretty much jealous or burnt out because of his plan that didn't work will have a burnt cloud to express it further, his disappointment. Somebody who is excited, probably seeing his girlfriend, let's have some hearts flying off. Okay, somebody who is shocked will have a huge bead of perspiration flying off his head. It could be one or two. Please don't draw it in multiple repetitions, because that might spoil the effect. So try to minimize the special usage of these special gimmicks or visual props to the minimum. Then only the cartoon looks very interesting. Okay. Now this is somebody who is knocked off, who has been beaten up, can see orbiting stars around his head. Okay. And for somebody who is just shocked or dumbstruck or doesn't know what to do, also has perspirations flying off his forehead. Okay, it could be happening in all four angles like this. So this kind of a usage of visual props can be simply picked up from any cartoon or comic book. This is or you could create it on your own. That's a choice completely up to you, if you're good at imagining and conveying it much better. Okay, so this is how you go about in creating your facial expressions. Now if you wish to draw it more on your own, the simple trick is to stand in front of a mirror and enact different expressions on your face. I'm not saying you're all cartoons, but that's the best way to learn. What you need to do is just look at your own face very carefully, creating a different expression each time. Focus your attention on your eyebrows, eyes and mouth. Believe me, you might not be able to exaggerate it, but you will be able to come close to the expressions that you see on your board that you've just copied, almost close to this. Okay, it will come with practice. You need to be at it, and you need to also improve your sense of observation as to what kind of an expression suits a particular situation. We should also be knowledge that you need to gain as you're drawing different expressions. Okay, now we'll rub this off. Next important lesson to be learned is how to draw a cartoon character's full body. Now we have done the face, we've done the expressions. Now is to how do you base these cartoon characters on a body, and the simplest way to do is by using matchstick figures. Now I am drawing two different matchstick figures. This is the front view and the side view, which many of you must have not realized so far. This is the front view of a matchstick figure, and this is the side view of a matchstick figure. Okay, now while drawing a matchstick figure, it is why we choose to begin with that is because it is something which is very simple to create, and the cartoonist need not pay too much of attention to the details of the body. Obviously, the basic shape, that is the body, and the arms and the limbs have to be in certain proportion. That is very important. So this is the easiest way, because the next important exercise which I would like you to do it now that you're all sitting at home, this is the best time to observe people, or probably look out of the window to see people if there are people on the street, is to copy every action pose or every body language that you can capture and draw it in simple stick figures. This gives you a better command of placing your characters in the right body language when you're putting them in cartoons, because I don't think anyone has seen any cartoon comic book which describes the action pose. It is only the dialogue which is written. It is never written that Doraemon is jumping, Doraemon is, for example, okay, Doraemon is running or sleeping, etc., etc. So you need to observe. Now, how do you go about it? For example, if I say draw a picture of somebody sleeping, okay, there could be many variations of how anyone in your house sleeps. Okay, let's look at some stereotype images. For example, this is how you go about it. Somebody is sleeping straight, somebody is sleeping sideways. These are different poses. Okay, okay, and somebody just relaxing in a park maybe. Okay, all these are different poses that I've given you of a single activity or action or a pose or body language of somebody who is lying down, sleeping, napping, or resting, whatever it is. Similarly, somebody sitting on the chair or sitting on the floor, again, needs to be just drawn and understood how it will look. Okay. Similarly, there is also another very interesting thing is when somebody is holding something. For example, if somebody is lifting very heavy things, his body will tilt to a certain angle to balance himself, which is also pretty much something which needs to be observed and drawn. So I'll just show you, for example, somebody is playing cricket and he's hitting the bat for a 6. So if very simply I'm just drawing it, okay, that's the hand, the body turned like this. As you can see, it is bent backwards to hit a 6. So that action pose gives you a perfect understanding and a perfect communication, perfect logical way of, or maybe a little exaggerated, logical way of showing the human movement, which is easily identifiable by your reader. Now, another very important thing in cartoons is, as far as stick figure is concerned, is there are two different poses which is very interesting. That is cartoon run and cartoon walk. Now, why that is important is because cartoon characters are notorious for breaking into all-out run at the slightest provocation. You might see a cartoon character being chased or is getting chased, which is by someone or something, and these cartoon characters must match the pace of action with the running pose. Okay, I'm going to show you how those what I meant. For example, if you are drawing somebody who is, this is a standard pose of somebody who is running, I'm sure you will draw it like this. Okay, this is the standard pose. Now, what happens when I exaggerate the pose for a cartoon? That happens with a lot of practice, but as I said, this pose is very, very crucial for cartooning. Okay, so this is one extreme pose of somebody running is this. This is called an extreme running pose. Okay, then you, as I said, you have the all-out run where the person is running at top speed. You can't see the limbs, you can't see the legs out there, so he's running at all speed. So this is the standard running pose. Okay, you can just virtually copy it, and this is extreme, and the last one is all out. Okay, so you need to practice on this also. You can also watch other cartoonists how they have portrayed the same running pose in different formats. See, that will be an interesting research that you can do, as how each cartoonist have developed their own style of showing their own cartoon characters running. But this pose is something which you need to develop and understand and also practice many a times, because it is very essential for cartooning. Okay, then we come to another very important thing, is cartoon walk. Now, what happens in a walk? We cartoonists try to give it as a unique personality, because that particular cartoon character will have that unique walk which identifies that character each time when he is on either on the screen, which is in a cartoon movie, or when it is in print. Okay, now we are taking up normal walking pose. So this is the normal walking pose of a person. Okay, sorry. Okay, this is a normal walking pose. This is a standard walking pose of a man. Now we take on to the next level of exaggeration. This is called the cool walk. Why? Because the body is bent backwards, so it's called a cool walk in cartoon. Okay. Then we have a very drag walk. Okay, somebody who is not willing to probably walk home, or comes back defeated, or is dragging himself back to wherever he's come from. Okay. Then the third exaggeration, which is very common in cartoons, is the peppy walk. Okay, it's almost like a marching walk. Okay, almost like a marching walk. So that's the peppy walk. This is the drag walk. This is the cool walk. Okay, and this is the standard walk. So this is also something which you need to understand when you put your cartoons to drawing. The cartoon walk and cartoon run are very important body poses. Now the next interesting part is when you put your facial features, that is the facial expression and the body, when you draw it for a cartoon, it should match the body attitude also. Now what I meant is, for every facial expression your body also reacts, and it should be complementary when you're drawing them. For example, if I am drawing a crying face, okay, let's assume this is a crying face. Okay, now if I want, I'm just making it a little funny by making him sit and two hands towards the eye. Okay, so this is, so the cartoon drawing itself, it looks very funny. A huge bulbous head supported on a very thin body framework in itself is a very humorous drawing to begin with. Similarly, if somebody is very angry, okay, I could show this person standing with two hands on the waist. Okay, so when you try this trick, it will be a very interesting exercise for you to understand how you actually place your cartoon characters in the most funniest way, and how do you actually keep the body language connected to the facial expression in a perfect posture. So this is also purely based on your sense of observation, which is a very important attribute to be a good cartoonist. So you need to work on that. Okay, so this is something which you need to keep doing it by just looking at certain facial expression and then matching the body types to which matches the face. Okay, please copy these images. Now another very interesting tip is for those of you who think that you have seen very odd looking shaped faces in cartoons, and why can't you try them out? You can definitely try them out, but I will give you a tip of using two different geometrical shapes for doing that. That's also a possibility which I would like to share with you. That is, if you wish to draw different cartoon characters, you could probably have a choice of choosing circle and a triangle, circle and a square, then oval over another oval, or circle over circle. Now, it throws up a different set of images of a cartoon character, which will look definitely funny, because you've chosen two different geometrical shapes. Now, the important thing is those two axis lines only is used for the upper half. The mouth will obviously follow, is the only feature which will be in the second shape, that you should keep in mind. So here we go. I'm just trying to complete the picture just for your benefit, just to make you understand how different each of these images will look like if I draw those characters. So as you can see, this face of this particular cartoon character has an angular face, which in itself looks very funny. Here comes the next. Okay, this is the next character. Okay, and this is the next one. I'll change it to a female character. As you can see, in each one of them, it's changing the body, the facial structure has changed, and also the the characters that appear or emerge out of using these kind of images, or these kind of different two sets of geometrical shapes. You have a range of different expression and different interesting cartoon characters emerging out of it. Okay, you do have odd looking shapes in cartoons, which I can give you a few examples that most of the cartoons use. This is called the cup shaped face, then you have the heart shaped face, then you have the vase shaped face. These are all also something which can give you a single shape, but these are not geometrical shape. This is a peanut shape. So you can even try out your different characters by using these shapes also. These are not geometrical shapes, but something born out of imagination of using some odd shapes for creating your cartoon characters. Another very interesting tip that I would like to tell you is also, when we choose a geometrical shape, it is also kept in mind that the head dictates the type of body the cartoon character has. Not when we are drawing it as a stick figure, okay, but when we are actually trying to create a cartoon character with a certain body type, we have a certain parameters of choosing them. Now this is a very interesting tip. For example, if we choose a rectangular shaped face, it is always meant for tall characters. Okay, so we choose a rectangular shape in a vertical format, it's always meant for tall characters. Then we have very common is the oval one. Okay, this is meant for characters who are pretty young, that is small babies or very small kids and cute characters. Okay, then we have the simple inverted pizza shaped face, which is the inverted triangle. This is meant for characters who are weird and funny. Okay, so just to give you an example, how do they look? This is oval and this is triangle, as you can see it very well. Now I'm going to draw the characters, or probably show you some just examples. Okay, okay, that's how they will look. Okay, I'm sure you must have able to identify a few characters that you must have seen. Probably your Supandi in Tinkle looks almost close to this. Okay, there are many other characters. Phineas and Ferb looks like this, and any other kid cartoon is always drawn with this oval shape. So these are some parameters which we cartoonists, when we try and draw cartoons, keep that in mind. So this is an extra tip that I'm giving you, which no cartoonist will tell you. Okay, so this is something which you need to copy just for your understanding. This is a rectangle is meant for tall characters. Oval is meant for young characters. And I will write that out here instead of that. Shape, young characters. And the triangle is meant for weird characters or funny characters. Let's put it like that. Okay. Now we come to the last part. To create your own cartoon character on your own, the simplest way to go about is a very interesting way, which you must have seen been done in many cartoon films and ad films. That is, to animate non-animate objects, that is, things that you use in your daily life can be converted into cartoon characters. For example, if it is your teacup, okay, just assume this is a teacup, very simply shown. Okay, I can animate or create this into a cartoon character. Somebody who's feeling the heat, and obviously he has the anger in him. It's a glass of milk. So I can show this particular character as drinking something very healthy. So obviously he's showing off his muscles. These are simple techniques of using human expressions onto your cartoon characters, inanimate objects, which you'd use in your daily life, and then you will definitely evoke a smile, at least in the people you show, because they probably never imagine that your daily used objects or can be animated or can be brought to life as cartoon characters. So that's a very interesting thing to do. This is assuming this is your pencil that you are all holding. I can show it as a very tired looking pencil because it has been drawing cartoons for so long. The option of choosing to draw or add legs and hands is completely up to you as a cartoonist. As you can see, I have not used it here. If I want, I can, but that's an option which is left open to you. Okay, I think that's all with the time we have much, and I need you to show the books that you can probably learn more tricks on cartoon making. Just to introduce those titles to you, please have a look at these titles. This is the level 1 book, which is called Cartooning with AJIT NARAYAN. It is fully illustrated, very simply text for you guys to understand the different nuances of cartoon making, so you can refer a lot. This is the level 1 book. This is for 150 rupees only. The level 2 book is, according to me, recommended for you guys to learn, is this one, which is again for 150 rupees only, and the title of the book is called Draw Cartoons with AJIT NARAYAN. And as you can see, it's again fully illustrated for you guys to learn the different tricks of cartoon making. Okay, the third and the fourth book recommended by me is for those of you who love to draw animal cartoons. Animal cartoons where you can just simply use simple geometrical shapes to draw your cartoon animals. These are some of the animals which are pretty common in any cartoon comic book. So this is the title, How to Draw Animal Cartoons. The fourth book is for those of you who love to draw comic strips. I'm sure there are many boys who love to draw that. So here we have how do you actually go about it. There's a lot of tricks that is involved, and how do you actually put them to use, and what you need to do is all there in this particular book. This is for 110 rupees. And the fifth and sixth book of mine is this one, which is Cartooning Tricks, and this has got different exaggerated tricks of drawing your cartoons in the most craziest way. Okay, these are some of the examples I'm just showing you. Okay, you'll find a lot of tricks and how do you actually go about it. Okay, and the final book is a book which came out in 2019. This is or 18, sorry, and this is my latest book. For those of you who have a query in their mind as to if you have learned the trick of drawing cartoons, how do you actually put them in paper and create some new cartoon? Well, how do you go about thinking for a cartoon idea? So you have all these different topics that I've dealt with, and how do you actually think for a cartoon is also done in this book with examples, many to choose from. Okay, so that's all the time we have between us till we meet next. If there is any query, you can send it to me on my personal email ID, which I will put it across on the board right now. If you wish to show me your work or would like to review your work, I am very much there to respond to you, but please do identify yourself from which school and your name too. Okay, it's doodle strokes at gmail.com. Okay, you can write in to me, and if you have any personal queries with regard to your work that you have done, you would like to show me your work and would like to review it, or if you have very genuine question with cartoons. Okay, that's all we have time for till we meet next. I hope every one of you have learnt and are pretty much excited in learning the new tricks on cartoon making. These tricks should be practiced, as I've been repeatedly telling you. Then only it becomes worthwhile. In not just please do not just keep these copied versions that you have with you for posterity, but you need to work on them as many times as possible. And hope to see you all guys next time when we have better times post COVID. Maybe I would be invited down to your school to interact with you in person. That's all we have time for. Thank you so much for joining me.